News.mc on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
Hello everyone, I'm Justin Highman, Deputy CEO of the Monaco Economic Board, the MEB. The Monaco Economic Board is the entity in charge of promoting the economy of the Principality. We have several missions. The first one is being a Chamber of Commerce for the Principality. As of today, we're quite proud to say that we have over 650 companies registered within our chamber, which is quite a big number because, let's say 10 years ago, a decade ago, we were barely 400, so that's over 60% increase, so we're quite happy about that. And for the Chamber of Commerce, we do a lot of different things, both nationally, so within the Principality, doing a lot of networking events so that the companies get to meet each other and perhaps develop some business opportunities. Because the paradox in the Principality, one might think that everyone knows each other, but it's absolutely not the case in the sense that everyone comes to work, does their thing, and then just gets back home or leaves. And therefore, there is very little business mingling. We like to think that we are the link to company CEOs, C-level executives meeting each other within the Principality. We also bring some very well-known and fantastic speakers to talk about, obviously, the economy, mega trends, geopolitical risk and the like, to inform as best as they can our entrepreneurs, our members, of what is going on in the world. So the Chamber of Commerce nationally is really here to promote synergies between the companies so that the companies can work together. I was very lucky to come in the 90s to Monaco and was educated at Collège Charles III and Lycée Albert Ier before going on in higher education to the UK, Sussex University and the London School of Economics, as well as doing a year in Sciences Po Paris. Prior coming to the Monaco Economic Board, I worked at a consulting firm called the Oxford Business Group in North Africa and in Turkey, as well as the French Embassy in the United Kingdom, before doing a short stint at the Métropole Disco d'Azur for Christian Estrosi, and joining therefore the Monaco Economic Board, first of all as Director of Monaco Invest in 2016. We also internationally do a lot of trade missions. We try to do 4 trade missions a year, one every quarter, to different countries in the world so that the companies find international opportunities, because it's true that Monaco remains a very small market, so an entrepreneur needs, a company needs to be international to thrive in the Principality. But it's also the aim of the Principality to be a thriving business platform. And another aspect that we also like to promote when we're abroad, beyond what I just said, is the sustainability factor. As you know, the younger generations that we meet are very keen on the environment. They enjoy and they appreciate the fact His Serene Highness Prince Albert II is so adamant on the Principality, really working on the ecological transition coupled with the digital transition that I mentioned earlier on. The economic development strategy has therefore 2 legs, the environmental transition as well as digital transition, and that is very important nowadays to showcase also the sustainability that Monaco is really trying to help that cause. So in projects such as the heat pumps in Fontvieille, so we have a lot of renewable energy, over 20% within the Principality coming through the Principality with the help of the SMEG, which is the Société Monégasque d'Électricité et Gaz. So yes, that's another aspect as well that's key nowadays, is to talk about the sustainability, especially to the younger generations. So we also have a third role within the Monaco Economic Board, is Monaco Coordination, which is to showcase the different facets of the Principality, so not just the economic sphere, but also all the different other important spheres that are part of the international clout of the Principality, such as the cultural aspects, the scientific aspects, the sports event side of things. All these different aspects are very, very important to illustrate what Monaco does throughout the world. So we are in charge of coordinating all the different entities that promote these different spheres in order to be more comprehensive and thorough, traveling notably abroad and promoting the Principality. We're also members for now over 2 decades of the ICC, the International Chamber of Commerce, based in Paris. Through that network, we also get to meet a lot of different chambers. That's how we get to meet other chambers and their heads, their chief executives. So that's how we aim to find out where we go. Trade, international trade within the Principality is mostly European. So we do tend to do a lot of trade missions within Europe. And then we also every year try to aim to go to a long distance trade mission region. It can be the Middle East, like we have done just this year with Riyadh in January, which was an amazing success with over 60 companies. We can also every year go with a club called the CEMA, le Club des Entreprises Monégasques en Afrique, which is a small association but very dynamic one of companies dealing with Francophone but also some Anglophone countries within Africa and doing a lot of business there. So we try to accompany with them on certain trips. So this year, for example, it was Casablanca. Last year was Djibouti. Once a year, so we aim to look at Africa because people don't realize, but Africa is actually quite a strong economic partner for the Principality and has been for decades. Next year, as you know, there's the Exposition Universelle in Osaka. So we believe that a trade mission to Japan could be an opportunity. So we are studying that with the ambassador of Monaco to Japan, Pavilion Monaco, who will be dealing with the pavilion in Osaka. So we hope to look at perhaps Japan next year. We hosted, as you know, Hungary very recently, so that could be a country also that we may look at next year if we're looking at future plans. Middle East, again, is a region that we will go back to because we've been to Dubai several times. We've been, as I mentioned earlier on, in Riyadh just earlier this year. Very recently, we also signed with the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce, an MOU, which normally means that we're going to engage with that chamber. We focus on the fundamentals of the Principality and obviously the economic side of things. But what we like to say to potential investors, entrepreneurs, family businesses looking to locate a business in continental Europe and to consider the Principality of Monaco, we tell them that this is a thriving business platform, very small but very agile, extremely stable, both in its economy but also in its politics, extremely secure for people and goods, but even for data with the extended Monaco Smart Principality program that was installed just a few years ago. We are even now going to have our data stored within data centers within the country, backed by e-embassy in Luxembourg. So this is again accentuating its security on the data. So all these fundamentals are very important for these entrepreneurs, these investors in this challenging world we live in, to know that perhaps you will be paying your real estate, whether you buy or rent, higher than in other places, but you can have a business plan that won't move because we have the chance of having the same reigning family, the Grimaldi family, for over 7 centuries, and we therefore have a very clear plan of what the future holds. So for an entrepreneur looking to develop his business, Monaco is an ideal location to set up in. And I'm not talking about also the quality of life, which is also becoming more and more of an important aspect for entrepreneurs, family businesses. Obviously, the healthcare system, which is second to none, with all the works that's been done at the CHPG, for example, the Centre Hospitalier Française Grasse, to be probably one of the most efficient and modern hospitals in Western Europe, and also on the education front. Because when I travel and to promote the Principality, some people, some entrepreneurs, are worried about education, international education for their children. But here again, Monaco has gone leaps and bounds since the 90s when I first arrived in Monaco, even though then you still had some great international schooling, but it's gotten much better. We also obviously have the International University of Monaco, which has now even increased very highly its standards. And all these new schools have brought some very exciting new staff and give Monaco the opportunity to offer very good education also to these families that we wish to anchor in the Principality on the long term. It was called the Chambre de Développement Économique until 2015, end of 2015. I arrived in January 2016, so the name change was already done. It was a wish from the head of state, with obviously our board of directors, to anglicize our entity, which was created, just to remind our audience, in 1999. We're just celebrating our 25 years of existence as we speak. So the idea was indeed to have a much more Anglophone name, to have more visibility, more clout around the world, and also to make it clearer, it's true, for international investors, entrepreneurs. Just to come back on the Monaco Economic Board, it also gave it more scope to include more missions. We are a Chamber of Commerce, but we're also an investment promotion agency, which is the part of Invest in Monaco. So we not only try to promote our members and engage in international affairs and opportunities, the outbound investment side of things, but we're also here to attract investment from abroad, the inbound investment side of things. It's quite unique actually, because often in most countries those two parts are separate, but in Monaco we've made a one-stop shop, including both the Chamber of Commerce and the investment promotion agency Invest Monaco, in order to increase fluidity. Our goal is always to look after, obviously, our members that are growing. I mean, as I mentioned, we're now 650 members strong. We've just launched this year a premium category within our members, so that some members that wish can bring more participants to our different events. We do over 40 events every year, I include the ones in Monaco and abroad. We also offer them more communication services if need be, and also priority on certain events. So our aim on the Chamber of Commerce side is obviously to develop even more synergies with our members and between the members, potentially increase slowly but surely, but most importantly, satisfy their needs. We also hope to work, as we have done in the last year or so, on promoting Monaco abroad and trying to attract more and more entrepreneurs and investors to the Principality, continue promoting Monaco as a great destination to live and work in. On the challenges front, I guess, yes, I mean, you always have to face challenges, so we wish to make sure that we give our best, and most importantly, as I mentioned earlier on, the services are as excellent as they've always been, because the challenge can be when you bring in too many members, perhaps the services go down because our team is small. It's chaired by Mr. Michel Dota, and we only have a team of 12 people, so it's quite a challenge to keep growing on the number of events that we do. I mean, I mentioned 40, but sometimes we're closer to 50 than 40. The number of members are growing every year, so it is a challenge to keep that going, as well as costs, because all these events, all these trade missions, all these services do have a cost, and as you all know, inflation has hit everyone, so it's a challenge also to stay in the clear financially. The main thing is with the grey list, because many countries have been on this list, which only means there is more checks done, there's no sanctions, we're not stopping the economy from growing, it's just that the entities at work, so the task force, the financial task force and the like, will look at Monaco more closely, there will be more surveillance, but there is no sanctions, there's no stopping the economy and its companies. We must just make sure that we do not stay a long time, and if it is that time, the impact on the economy should not be significant. We should be able to get over it rather swiftly. Maybe some smaller companies in one or two sectors will be hit harder than others. But for us at the MEB, no, it's business as usual, and we're going to continue helping our members grow, exchange with each other and go international, and also continue promoting the Principality to attract new talent, new investors and new entrepreneurs. In the last year and a half, 2 years, there's been a lot of work done on the legislation. The initiatives are there. That's why I think we should be leaving the grey list within 16, 18 months, because it's more of a case of just checking that these laws that have been voted in are properly implemented, which was probably not possible in the time that was given to us by the different instances. But I don't think it's a very bad thing. It's just not lucky that it arrived at such a bad timing for us. When we promote Monaco abroad, the main thing is to convince the people of what is going on here, because most people that we meet, and I mean even if we go to a neighbouring Switzerland or London, where we believe that people are learned of the Principality, they're not. They can't believe there is that we have a university within the Principality. They wouldn't know that we have a thriving economy. Just to give you some facts and figures, when we tell them that there's an economy worth billions of euros and growing every year at 5% in the last decade, if you tell them that there are other sectors than the financial services or tourism, people say, no, there's nothing else. No, they don't believe that we have thriving sectors in the maritime sector, such as shipping. We're top 20 centre for shipping in the world. I'm not going to talk about yachting. We're probably the capital city of yachting in the world, if at least one of the capital cities. And this is really very important to these people, because they often have a very strong misconception about the Principality, especially on the economic side. They believe obviously there's a few banks, there's a bit of tourism going on, and so it really is a case of showcasing Monaco on the economic front and showing that there is everything within the Principality to work and live very, very well. And then obviously all the other factors, such as the fact that we have an amazing airport within 7 minutes by helicopter or 25 minutes by car or train, which can bring you in over 110 destinations around the world directly. The healthcare and the education system as well that we talked about, because most people don't think that we have international schooling. So, I mean, it really is a case of promoting those aspects. For a lot of these people, Monaco is just a seaside destination where you can spend a few weeks in the year, but it's really not the case. You can really create thriving in an international cosmopolitan city and be very accessible with the airport nearby to the rest of Europe, but beyond, as you know.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching News.mc, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, news.mc and monacoinfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.